The region of Kashmir has been a point of contention for decades. Claimed by both India and Pakistan, it has been the battleground for numerous wars and skirmishes. The breathtaking beauty of the Himalayas belies a long history of bloodshed and mistrust. Generations have grown up under the shadow of conflict, their lives punctuated by the rattle of gunfire and the fear of sudden violence. The recent ceasefire, announced after days of intense shelling across the line of control, offered a glimmer of hope in this troubled land. The Kashmir conflict is a complex and multifaceted issue, with roots in the partition of British India in 1947. The predominantly Muslim population of the region created a dilemma, as both India and Pakistan sought to claim it as their own. This ultimately led to the first of several wars fought over Kashmir, leaving the region divided and the issue unresolved. Since then, both countries have maintained a military presence in the region, with frequent clashes and accusations of ceasefire violations. The human cost of this conflict is immeasurable. Thousands have lost their lives, countless others have been displaced, and the region's economy has been crippled. The constant threat of violence has created an atmosphere of fear and uncertainty, casting a long shadow over the lives of ordinary Kashmiris. The recent escalation of tensions, which saw some of the heaviest shelling in years, only served to deepen these wounds and further erode trust between the two sides. The ceasefire agreement, announced on date of ceasefire announcement, came as a welcome relief to many. Brokered with the help of international actors, particularly the United States, it promised a cessation of hostilities and a return to dialogue. The agreement stipulated an immediate halt to all military actions along the line of control, including shelling, cross-border firing, and troop movements. It was seen as a crucial first step towards de-escalating tensions and creating an environment conducive to meaningful negotiations. The international community, weary of the decades-long conflict, breathed a collective sigh of relief. The United Nations welcomed the ceasefire and urged both India and Pakistan to respect its terms. The United States, which played a key role in facilitating the agreement, expressed hope that it would lead to a lasting peace in the region. However, skepticism remained high, given the history of broken promises and failed ceasefires in Kashmir. The ceasefire was met with cautious optimism by people living on both sides of the line of control. While many welcomed the respite from violence, there were also those who expressed doubts about its longevity. The wounds of the conflict run deep, and the scars of past betrayals are slow to heal. Trust between the two sides is in short supply, and the shadow of the past hangs heavy over the present. Despite the ceasefire agreement, tensions remain high. Both India and Pakistan have accused each other of violating the ceasefire, casting a pall over the fragile peace. Each side claims that the other initiated the recent escalation of violence and that their actions were merely in self-defense. These accusations and counter-accusations highlight the deep mistrust that continues to plague the relationship between the two countries. India maintains that its military strikes, which preceded the ceasefire, were targeted at terrorist infrastructure and training camps operating within Pakistan-controlled Kashmir. They claim that these strikes were necessary to prevent future attacks and to ensure the safety and security of their citizens. Pakistan, however, denies the presence of any such camps on its soil and accuses India of carrying out unprovoked aggression. The claims and counterclaims made by both sides are difficult to verify independently, given the restricted access to the region. International observers have called for restraint and urged both countries to avoid any actions that could jeopardize the ceasefire. However, the lack of transparency and the ongoing war of words only serve to deepen the mistrust and make a lasting peace seem like a distant dream. Caught in the crossfire of this enduring conflict are the people of Kashmir. Their lives and livelihoods have been severely impacted by the decades of violence and instability. The recent escalation of tensions only exacerbated their suffering, forcing many to flee their homes and seek refuge in safer areas. The ceasefire, while offering a much-needed respite from the violence, does little to address the underlying political and social issues that continue to fuel the conflict. The people of Kashmir yearn for a peaceful and prosperous future, free from the fear of violence and oppression. They desire a life where they can exercise their basic human rights and live with dignity and respect. However, their aspirations remain unfulfilled, held hostage to the geopolitical machinations of India and Pakistan. The international community must recognize the plight of the Kashmiri people and work towards a just and lasting solution that addresses their legitimate grievances. The road ahead for Kashmir remains uncertain. The ceasefire, while a positive step, is but a fragile foundation upon which to build lasting peace. The deep-rooted mistrust, the unresolved political issues, and the constant threat of violence continue to cast a long shadow over the region. It is imperative that both India and Pakistan seize this opportunity to engage in meaningful dialogue, address the root causes of the conflict, and work towards a peaceful and sustainable solution that respects the aspirations of the Kashmiri people.